Well, more troubling news for U.S. retail. Stein Mart, which has 2 stores in Jefferson Parish and 1 on the North Shore, is closing its doors. Today, it joined dozens of other chains in filing for bankruptcy. Paul Murphy reports on how JP leaders are now responding to the turmoil in the retail industry, hammered by the coronavirus pandemic.
Veterans Memorial Boulevard in Jefferson Parish is a microcosm of what's happening in retail across the country. K-Mart and Sears have been closed for a while. New stores like Total Wine & More have recently opened. And we just learned discount department store chain Stein Mart will soon be closing most, if not all, of its stores. Jefferson Economic Development Commission President Jerry Bologna says many chains had problems even before the coronavirus pandemic.
COVID certainly exacerbated the situation by forcing the stay-at-home type orders, which has put a hardship or placed a hardship on many of these retailers and forced them to make the difficult decisions to either file bankruptcy or close.
Stein Mart joins 40 other major retailers, including Pier 1, JCPenney, and Men's Warehouse, that have already filed for bankruptcy this year. The upheaval in retail and downturn in the economy have taken a bite out of JP's sales tax collections. May receipts reported in July showed a 75% drop in sales taxes at Lakeside Shopping Center in Metairie. That's compared to last year. Clearview Mall was down 32%. Overall, May sales taxes were down in the parish by 10%. JP Council member Jennifer Van Franken admits she expected the numbers to be a lot worse.
As a retail space in Metairie has been vacated by one business, we've been able to pretty consistently attract another exciting business into that place.
Bologna revealed discount supermarket chain Aldi is coming to Jefferson Parish, and other stores are expected to follow.
Additional grocery stores, Trader Joe's, all of those types of concepts are looking at increasing their presence in Jefferson.
While JP leaders remain bullish on retail, bankruptcies are now on track to hit their worst level in a decade as the coronavirus pandemic continues to slam businesses. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.
And for every major retailer struggling right now, there are dozens of small businesses hurting too. And that's why Jefferson Parish is urging people to shop local and help keep the local stores in business.